Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the January 9th, 2024 Radford City Schools School Board meeting. Can we please have a moment of silence? Those who care to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Helfie, would you like to lead us?
Ma'am. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Has everyone gotten a chance to review the agenda? Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. Recognitions. Do we have any this evening? I would like,
Yeah, we can do it under that. I was going to put it under the report of the superintendent.
I wanted to recognize our service of our interim superintendent. We've had a wonderful time working with Dr. Collins and appreciate the time and energy and dedication and love that he has given Bradford City Schools. We, as a board, appreciate it. I know that our staff and our students appreciate it. And we want to thank you so much for being here. And we hope that you're not a stranger as time goes by.
I'm a Bobcat now.
You are a Bobcat. So thank you so much for your service to Radford City Schools. All right, let's move on to our consent items. We have our minutes from December 12th and December 21st. Everybody gotten a chance to read those? No edits? Superintendent's authority to appoint personnel in between board meetings. Our bills and petty cash reports. And student activities. We have another student activity in our stack, I believe, for the choir, heading to McCarg at the end of the month. I think they had to cancel that right before the holidays. So I guess they're going a redo. Any other use of school facilities? Can I have a motion to approve the consent items?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now is our time for public comment. Do we have any before I read this big, long paragraph? Yes, you do. I do? Okay. Reports, requests, and/or comments by students, school personnel, or the public. This part of the meeting is reserved for public comments regarding items on our agenda or in regards to Radford City Schools. It is your opportunity to address the board. You're requested to keep your comments polite and courteous. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect of the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. Speakers should be aware that they may be held legally responsible if they make statements that violate the legal rights of others. For example, if statements are made that are defamatory or threatening. Complaints about specific school personnel are best addressed to school administration, who will address those concerns as appropriated through existing board complaint procedures. Please remember that you cannot mention specific student names during public comments. Comments likely to disrupt the board's work, will prompt a breach of the peace, are prohibited, and speaker will be called out of order by the board chair. Please remember that debate during public comments is prohibited. For the record, please state your name and address. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker at board meetings. Electronically submitted comments will not be read at the meeting, but they will be included in the minutes for public record. If anyone wishes to make comments, please come to the podium at this time. And we have Ms. Bella Calfee.
Good evening and Happy New Year. I'm Bella Calfee, live on 8197 7th Street. I am here today on behalf of the Bradford High School SCA, Student Council Association, just to give kind of a general update, trying to do these monthly. So even though we have been on break, RHS has been very, very busy, even in the past 2 days. Our winter sports are shaping up to have a successful season, as always and expected. Our wrestling team welcomed 8 teams and 95 wrestlers to the RHS Gymnasium on the 3rd of this month for the 2024 Bobcat Brawl, and also hosted the 2023 Lady Cat Invitational in December, where 42 lady wrestlers joined us. Many of our Bobcats were champions of these events. We expect nothing less, of course. Our boys basketball team is 3-4 so far, and our girls basketball team is 3-5 for our varsity teams. The track and field team has begun their practices, and they're looking forward to their first meet soon. It was supposed to be today, but of course the rain. Our Future Farmers of America competition teams will compete next month in the hippology competitions in Christiansburg. The Youth and Government Club, of which we have many members present tonight, will be traveling to the YMCA Model General Assembly Conference in April and have officially submitted 2 bills on behalf of RHS. More information on that conference as the time gets closer. Our Scholastic Bowl team hosted a match last night at RHS and will be hosting another match next Tuesday at 4 p.m. at RHS. If anyone is interested in attending, we highly encourage it. Coach Rowland has shared with me that the swim team will be attending states in 1 month and 6 days as of today, so the countdown is on. We have long questioned at RCPS as to exactly who says cats can't swim, as they are often state championships winners. If you would like to attend any meets before then, they will be held at the Aquatic Center every Tuesday for the month of January, bar tonight, of course, because of the rain. Last night, we recognized many teams and state championship winners at the City Council meeting. The students greatly appreciated the community support, and we're happy to see so many familiar faces. As the council stated, they have made Radford City very proud. While all of this is very exciting, I want to take a moment to say one final thank you to Dr. Collins as he ends his time with us here in Radford. You have impacted this community so greatly, and you will be never forgotten by those you interacted with. We are sad to see you go, so for now, we will say see you later, never goodbye. As you just said, you are Bobcat now. However, we are excited to officially welcome Dr. Adam Joyce and his wonderful family to the Bobcat family. In the coming weeks, I encourage Bobcat Nation to do what we do best and give them a warm, Radford welcome when you meet them. I feel confident that our community will help them settle in here at RCPS. As always, please check out the RHS Bobcast, B-O-B-C-A-S-T, we think it's clever, for daily updates on all things RHS. Today was particularly entertaining if you'd like to look that up, as we had to update the unfortunate sports cancellations with some last-minute editing. Our editor's pretty fantastic. So thank you all for your time. We look forward to updating you in February. Have a blessed night and stay dry.
Thank you. That's all we have on here. And after Bella has spoken, I know we've spoken about this before, and I would like to propose at some point when it's appropriate that we have a space on our agenda every month in case there is a student report. I don't feel like it should be limited to 3 minutes. You know, if we have a student from the high school or the middle school or, you know, Bell Heath or McCard, that if we had something that was a consistent spot, you know, for a student report, I think that would be excellent and not have to feel rushed. So something to think about for future agendas.
Just a separate agenda item
Yeah,
by
I mean,
itself.
you know, I think we do recognitions. I don't know why we wouldn't be able to have, you know, the report of the student
Yeah.
as a regular item, just in case there is somebody.
It could be a principal as well, or administrator that wants to report on something in particular too.
Yeah, that's something for us to consider.
Madam Chair, that request has been made by the SCA,
Okay.
but due to potential perceived conflict of interest, I had advised her to make the request directly to the board. But I know it is something that would be desired if it's something we would like to pursue.
I'll pass it on to the new superintendent.
Okay. Well, Dr. Joyce, and we'll get that rolling next time around. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to the report of our superintendent.
We're happy to have our auditors here tonight, and I will yield to Carrie to do a more formal introduction. I apologize that I'm not prepared to do that, but you work with them directly each and every week, probably.
This is Diana Epperly from Robertson Farmer Cox. I've worked with her quite a few years, and she's done our audit for quite a few years. So she's going to go over the school activity funds and our main audit also. So I'll let her take over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I want to start off by saying the audit went very well, and management and staff were a pleasure to work with. Carrie and I kind of caught up briefly right before. We do quite a bit of our work remote now, so we didn't need to come on site, so we did it all via portal upload this year. I want to start off by saying that the school board received an unmodified opinion this year, which is the best that can be received. You did have the same finding in the audit report related to ESSER funding as you had last year, and that's because the contract that caused that finding spans multiple fiscal years. So to go into more detail, the finding related to the Davis-Bacon Act, and the Davis-Bacon Act states that contractors are required to pay prevailing wage rates to their employees, and they're required to submit certified payroll reports for review. The federal guidance around ESSER funding changed from when it was first issued, because it is an extension of ARPA funding. So with that said, the contract had already been entered into prior to it being requested under ESSER funding. So with that, if a contract's already been entered into, the contractor is less likely to follow the Davis-Bacon requirements because it's an administrative burden to them. So we're not concerned at all by this, and I do want to point out that there were other contracts requested under ESSER funding that did follow the Davis-Bacon Act, but we are required to report that in the audit report and to the board. So if we go to page 1, this is the select historical financial data of the school board over the last 10 years. In 2023, the school board received state funding of $28 million. This is an increase of approximately $8 million from last year, and that's related to Virtual Virginia and a one-time construction funding received of $1.8 million. Federal funding was $3.8 million this year, and you'll see in 2022 and in 2023 there's an increase in your federal funds, and this is as a result of the ESSER funding received. Local operating funding was $7.2 million, which is an increase from last year because of your Virtual Virginia contract increase of $700,000 and additional funding from the city. Local capital contributions decreased, and that's as a result of the McCard project being completed in fiscal year 2023. Overall, operating expenditures for the fiscal year were $37 million. You'll see an increase in your instruction funding, your instruction expenditures, and that's just a result of your Virtual Virginia expenditures that's offset by the state funding. Facilities and capital project expenditures were $1.5 million, which decreased from fiscal year 21 and 22, but the decrease is because the McCard project was completed this year. Overall, your fund balance increased by $1.25 million, and a lot of that is a result of the one-time construction funds received that you guys still have as of June 30th. It's important to note that you have seen an increase in state and federal funding over the last few years, and a lot of that came from ARPA. So we don't really know where your funding will be over the next few years. So as the last time we saw this was with ARA funding, and we did see a decrease in federal funding once the ARA funds ran out. So I want to just point out that your financial health is linked to the city health, because as that federal funds decreases, then you will have to have more reliance on this funding from the city. The next page, page 2 of the presentation, these are your long-term obligations at June 30th. Accrued leave was $630,000. Your VRS pension liability was $10.3 million, and other post-employment benefit liabilities were $2.7 million. You'll see in 2022 that your VRS pension liability had decreased a lot, and it was $7.8 million. It's important to note that the VRS pension liability is measured a year behind. So for fiscal year 2022, it's actually measured as of June 30th, 2021. And at that time, the markets were doing really well, which caused the liability to decrease. So we are seeing that we do think that it's going to go back into line with where it was prior to 2022. So I wouldn't be concerned as you see it come back up to where it was prior to 2022. On pages 3 through 6 of the presentation, these are the school activity fund management comments. We didn't have any major concerns with the school activity fund audit. But we just wanted to provide you with a copy of the management comments that were given out. The next section of the presentation that starts on page 7 is the letter of communications with those charged with governance. We're required to make certain disclosures to the board, and they are in this letter. Additionally, this letter includes significant estimates, key disclosures, and the proposed adjusting entries. Also, if we had any difficulty in dealing with management, it would be disclosed in this letter. We didn't have any issues with management, and the management staff were both great to work with. So at this time, I'm going to stop and give you guys a chance to ask any questions.
The findings at the schools specifically, are those pretty typical?
For the school activity fund?
Yeah.
Yes. So the school activity fund audit, we're pretty detailed when we're looking at stuff. So as you read through them, you're gonna be like, wow, that seems really picky.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's very common. Like I said, there are no major concerns. We try and give as much guidance because there is so much room for. Like there's not a lot of controls when you come.
There's a lot
when you're-
happening.
Yeah. So yes, these are very typical. We tend to dig a little bit deeper into the details because they are so small and there aren't any controls at the schools. So they are very typical. Well, if there are no other questions, I want to say thank you for having me. If for some reason that you ever have questions in the future, my business card's attached to the front, and Corbin's information is also on the front of it. Feel free to call us or shoot us an email whenever you want. And thanks again.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Statement of economic interests.
Just a quick reminder that anyone's February the 1st, so just make sure that you get those to me. I would appreciate it.
Will do.
Thanks, Carrie. So, going by the sheet that was approved earlier this year, which lists the school board meetings and so forth with regard to topics, as you know, it's budget season. The governor has put his budget projection out. The General Assembly is in session. It is the long session, which is the first year of the biennium, preparing you for a March presentation on the budget. I thought I would share a couple of thoughts with you about the budget. These are tried and true things that most superintendents and school boards talk about with regard to considerations. So can you go ahead and hit it? So the cost of doing business goes up. I think tonight earlier we were talking about reassessments. We were talking about, I was talking with someone today about the cost of food and so forth. So the cost of business does go up, never goes down. So I've always framed most of my requests, most of the requests in divisions I've worked with a budget of need in mind. So this ties directly, or should tie directly, into your vision, and that is inclusive of all stakeholders if possible. So you were able to get some initial input at your public hearing in December, and that included employees. Go ahead. So some thoughts about a budget of need. Within the following budget of need framework, I think we ought to focus on just a few important concepts. So if you consider the most important things that go on in a school division, you'll see how those are outlined in the following slides. All areas in our school division are important, but prioritizing division needs will be necessary. So I always start with the students. So why are we here, right? Know your why. So I think you guys know or recall probably that I talk about this a lot. So providing and nurturing student success has to be a priority. And of course, we don't just want an education, we want a high quality education. Our changing needs is apparent to me. It should be apparent to most of the folks who work in our division. We have a diverse student population now, and the cost of serving all students rises each year. So if we promote academic excellence across all grade levels in schools, as well as supporting career exploration, I think our target is probably on course. So we have more and more compliance mandates from the state, federal government with regard to student needs. That takes staffing. And so I always like to mention this, that sometimes people see us doing our jobs, but mandates are one of those things that is a hidden cost. You must comply, you must fill out reports, you must send in information. And I frame this around teaching, learning, and leadership, as we all know is the main thing. Second, we can't do the work without employees. So I like to frame this in the area of supporting the recruitment, professional growth, and ultimately the retention of all these high-quality folks we hire. And to keep them motivated to support overall student success can be a challenge. This includes compensation. I always like to be in alignment with what the local area school divisions are doing with the larger state in mind. So people can't say, I want to leave here and go teach in a different part of the state and make more money. So Radford City Schools has always been a leader. Why shouldn't we lead in compensation? So I think I've heard quite a bit about enhancement of employee benefits. I've heard some things that work, some things that don't work. So I'm going to recommend to you, as you start this budget process, to consider how can we enhance benefits for people who aren't as worried about just a bottom line number when it comes to their salary. This will help us prepare for recruiting. That season's upon us, and hopefully give us a competitive edge. So I call that cost of competing. All right. Of course, we have to have school rooms, we have to have resources, we have to have equipment, we have to have people to maintain our excellent facilities. I think we had 3 water leaks today, and of course, if you had as much rain as we did in your area of our community, you might have a leak too. But talking with our maintenance team, we're always trying to be sure that we're providing a safe, secure, state-of-the-art facility and keep the equipment up to date. And this also includes technology. And when your technology team is working to support learning in different modes, we need up-to-date technology, and we need technology that works all the time, not just sometimes. So if you start thinking about facilities and equipment potential, what's the top end on this, right? We have to think globally, and we have to think what's possible, not just what we have. So we have aging infrastructure. We see that before our eyes. We see needs. I see it very clearly. We were able to identify the science labs, some locker room upgrades. That's great, but the rest of the building at the high school needs support. It needs refurbishment. And we're really eventually going to have to do something with Dalton in looking at that space. I'm not so sure that space still meets the needs of a modern education system. You need breakout space, you need meeting space, not just classrooms. And so if you start thinking and getting your head around this secondary complex, I would really encourage you to think outside of the box. What will we need to do in the future to meet the needs of future learners? So, and I leave with an example. On our maintenance staff, we've been 1 maintenance worker down and working with them today. 1 was out and 1 was running around trying to put buckets under leaks. And so I added that today because I think it's important. If you're going to have modern facilities and you do update them, we have to keep them in great shape. So lastly, but certainly not last in my mind, is community engagement. So we want our stakeholders to be a part of things. We want to have ongoing collaboration and formal partnerships with them. And of course, you saw the evidence of some wonderful things happening this fall that really brought the community together. I think part of your budget should be thinking around the topic of how do we sustain connections with the important people who must support our school division. And so we can call it whatever we want, but our stakeholders in our community are vital to the success of the school division, and somehow we have to think about, is this a budget priority? So I've outlined a couple of things there, always starting with the students. Certainly the employees are critical to their success, and a close second. And then, of course, you see our infrastructure, but let's not leave out the community. Okay? And just a last thought, I've tried to keep this brief and not bore you. With the arrival of the new superintendent, you should really think about your budget blueprint as a reflection of your commitment to the students and the future of your school division. What does that mean? Basically, you have to live with the money you're given, and that's local, state, and federal, annually, but how you spend your funds should be aligned with your values. So I think this is a good thing to do facing forward for you to consider as you move into the budget process. Carrie and I've talked about how to do that with the new superintendent. So we're meeting on Wednesday of next week to talk about this. So Tuesday's the introductory day, and Wednesday we get right to the budget. And so they'll be bringing things to you that they think are important. And of course, we want your input on this as well when you go through the work sessions. And we don't have a lot of work sessions scheduled, so maybe the board needs to think about how they want to get their arms around that. But if there are no questions, I'll just close out with that highlight about the budget. And in teaching this and working with budgets in 4 different school divisions, I think your budget's in good shape. I think you have a bright future, but I think you have to think not just locally, but globally. And I'll leave it at that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am sad to report that our architect could not make it tonight. There is not a significant project update with regard to the stadium. I still think we're a little ahead of schedule, so he said he would see you next month.
Sounds great.
And we go right to the enrollment report. Any questions? Our enrollment is strong. Weekly, we're still having students come to our school to attempt enrollment for a variety of reasons. So our enrollment is strong.
Great.
Yes, please. Sure. Thank you. Next, we have the Student Behavior Incident Report. And again, this is the newer form that we're using. And based on the question from last month, we have a little bit more to cover with regard to the numbers in closed session. So I think there had been a question asked of a specific behavior, and we wanted to report that to you under student matters. So,
What do the colors mean? Or is it just to separate
The
things?
school system.
It's buildings.
Green is at McCarg. Red's at Bell Heath. Yellow is at Dalton.
Just slap me when
It's all good. It's all good.
okay, it's okay with you. We will move forward. We
All right.
actually have some really nice news tonight. Ellen has worked with someone who contacted us to do an article on the school division, so I'll turn it over to her.
So,
Thanks.
send them down. That'd be great.
What? Sorry.
So this is a copy of the article. You can see it on the
Screen.
The magazine is Business View magazine. They contacted us, asked us if we would do a feature with them. Pretty big magazine, I figured out after we got our spread. But Mr. Wilder and Dr. Little and I sat down with the magazine. We asked a number of questions and we answered them, and they printed an article and included it in, I think it's the December issue of Business View magazine. So if you want to flip it to the next page, most of the article is about STEM. It's about innovation. It's about business partnership.
There it is.
It's about the renovation a little bit, about facilities, it's just kind of a collection of things. But I think we were pretty pleased at the final product, and happy to have our magazine, our school division highlighted in a magazine.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
They had reached out to us in early fall, and of course, I spoke with the chairman about this, and I said, I have no experience in this area. We're going to cooperate. We really don't know much about it, but they do highlight a couple of school divisions during each publication, and we were fortunate to be chosen, and it is a good representation of Radford City Schools, and we're very proud of it.
Great.
We asked for a number of different pictures. We turned the pictures in, they decided on which ones they wanted to profile.
Right.
But I think they did a nice job of kind of getting every age level.
So enjoy. It's not often you get really positive press like this, and so the target was to have this publicized about the time you're looking for a new superintendent, and so, it's just a little bit behind, but certainly timing, we don't have a lot to do with timing. It was all on their calendar, so.
And it is posted on our webpage under recent
great.
news for anybody else who wants to read it.
Thank you very much.
Great article.
Very nice.
Thank you for doing that. All right.
And last but not least, we have an update from YMCA, so I'll let Ellen continue.
Ryan, do you want to come up? Great. I'm going to give you just a copy. Ryan's been working hard on the webpage to get it out. And I kind of screenshotted it so that you would have a copy of what it looks like, but it's up there too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for letting me come talk to you tonight. I really appreciate the time that you give to me. To be very honest, we're having a really hard time finding some employees to work here. The good news is that Radford University students are really interested in the opportunity. We have several of them that are willing to be our teachers in the classrooms. The harder thing, though, is having a site director that's licensed or meets the requirements for licensure by the Department of Education for Virginia. That is just really, really dragging us down and slowing things up a lot. We are looking at some alternative recruitment mechanisms beyond Indeed and job boards. For instance, we're going to reach out to the offices for human resources at Virginia Tech and Radford University to talk to them about trailing spouses who are coming here following Virginia Tech and Radford University employees and professors. So we're hoping that there might be some interest there. Part of it, too, is that it's a part-time position and people are looking for more full-time opportunities. So those things are making it really, really difficult. The other thing that we've been kind of struggling with a little bit is the economic mechanism, the business model behind making this work. We did hold several information sessions last October. I think you got updated about that before, but I wasn't here for that, so just to share with you. We did have about 12, 15 individuals that came to that, asked some good questions, and were really interested in it. But from that, we weren't really sure how many parents, family members are really interested in trying to pursue this. So what we've decided to do is put the website together and ask everybody to sign up for 1 week of enrollment with us so that we can see who really wants to take part in the project. And that'll give us a lot of information, kind of two different ways. One, because it's a sliding scale, it'll allow us to see what the distribution of interest is among different SES groups so that we have a better idea of what kind of income really will be coming to us as we're running the program. And then secondly, it helps us to really see who is out there, who's interested, and how many people are we looking at right now versus maybe a longer term project. So we're ready to launch that. You have screenshots, I think, of the website. We're preparing the email to go out to parents, and that should be going out by the end of this week. So really trying to push forward with it, really excited about being able to do it, just having some stumbling blocks trying to make it happen. What other questions can I answer for you all?
Has it been difficult to find site directors for your other program?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And it's not just us. So my colleagues across the state at YMCAs that are looking for the similar kind of things are having a really hard time. And even here, anybody in early childhood education at ECE centers or in primary, secondary focused businesses or nonprofit organizations are struggling to find employees to work in this field. There's just nobody in the pipeline really coming in to be educators working in these ancillary support systems. So it's not just us and it's not just our area, it's really across the state.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I'm really happy to see that you all are going to go to the YMCA experience in Richmond. It's a great opportunity. So hope it's really great. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. All right. Reports of board members. Do we have any new business to share? I can comment on the city council meeting from last night. That was excellent. Wanted to thank David Horton and the entire city council for honoring our Bobcats last night. As Bella mentioned, we have all these students from the entire year of 2023 who have won state awards in academics and athletics and the arts. And so we were really excited for them to start this new tradition that they intend to every January honor our Bobcats. They made a bunch of proclamations, and so that was really fantastic. January is Bobcat Football Month, so, go Bobcats. So we really appreciate them, joining us and celebrating everybody. So thank you so much for that last night.
Madam Chair, an additional note from last night's meeting, which was always great to see everyone come out, and actually I think all the board was there as well, which is fantastic. Just to update anyone who didn't listen to or make it to the meeting, the stadium seating, the benches that were in Bobcat Stadium are being repurposed. They went through, we were very grateful that many of those were able to be utilized around town. So as you do go out and you see in some of the areas that we all visit around for the other rec league games, etc., where there were wooden benches, there's now nice new looking aluminum benches. Those actually are from the Bobcat field. So it's our way of working with the council and working in the city to share some of the well-loved and enjoyed memories of our Bobcat Stadium as we are renovating and updating things there to make sure we're repurposing those in a responsible and genuinely caring way. So just to let you all know where those seats came from if you didn't know. And I do appreciate the work between council and Dr. Collins and everyone else to make that happen as well.
Absolutely. And a huzzah to Deborah Effler-Taylor for being the Bobcat football mom who had us, on live for all the games, just like the Postal Service, neither rain nor snow nor sleet and hail and dark and all the things. She was wonderful, and she was awarded last night with it's a very
Big
long
Al.
name, but the Big Al Award.
Yeah.
Yes, award for her service to our community, and so that's excellent. So great job, Deborah. Thank you for being our Bobcat football, on the air for us all season.
Jenny, I was just going to say I was a lunch duty volunteer at Bell Heath today, and that I've always been primary, so it was interesting. Those kids are big. Yeah, I mean, right. Yeah, and so it made me realize how helpful it is for me to observe daily operations in our buildings because, I ask a lot of questions. And as a school board member who's responsible for policy making, if I'm better informed, I feel like I can make better decisions. But I just wanted to thank Cola and Jenny for welcoming me, and they're doing an extraordinary job over there, very impressive, and keep up the great work. And one more thing, I love seeing all the high school students here too, but there are 4 of them who have a special place in my heart because they were my second graders. So I'm proud of you guys. That's all.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to our action items. We have our VSBA Code of Conduct for board members that we sign each year. I think I have the copy here. Do we need to? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution of the VSBA Code of Conduct for school board members for, for the year of 2024?
Madam Chair, I make that motion.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we will make sure we get this signed and back to you this evening. Any other action items? All right, Dr. Ray, can you take us into closed session, please?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session for the following reasons. Under Virginia Statute 2.2-3711, closed meetings authorized for certain limited purposes. A, public bodies may hold closed meetings only for the following purposes. 1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body,
Okay.
and evaluation of performance of departments or schools of public institutions of higher education where such evaluation will necessarily involve discussion of the performance of specific individuals. Any teacher shall be permitted to present during a closed meeting in which there is a discussion or consideration of a disciplinary matter that involves the teacher and some student, and the student involved in the matter is present, provided the teacher makes a written request to be present to the presiding officer of the appropriate board.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session for reason number 2, discussion or consideration of admission or disciplinary matters or any other matter that would involve the disclosure of information contained in a scholastic record concerning any student of any Virginia public institution of higher education or any state school system. However, any such student, legal counsel, and if the student is a minor, the student's parents or legal guardians shall be permitted to be present during the taking of testimony or presentation of evidence at a closed meeting. If such student, parents, or guardians so request in writing, and such request is submitted to the presiding officer of the appropriate board.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session under reason number 4, the protection of the privacy of individuals in personnel matters not related to public business.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session for reason number 29, discussion of the award of a public contract involving the expenditure of public funds, including interviews of bidders or offerers, and discussion of the terms or scope of such contract, where discussion in an open session would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All right, we are in closed session. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. I need a motion to convene in regular session, please.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Ooh.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can we certify our closed meeting, please?
Oh, man, what's going on?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we certify closed meeting tonight for reason number 1.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we certify our closed session tonight for reason number 2.
A motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I would like to make a motion that we certify closed session for reason number 4.
A motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion that we certify tonight's closed session for reason number 29.
A motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you so much. We have Personnel Report 1.0. Do I have a motion to approve Personnel Report 1.0?
I make the motion that we approve personnel 1.0.
Yes. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we did not have student or tuition. We- Okay, I need a motion to approve Student Matter 1.0.
So moved.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and there's no tuition, nothing other than thanking Dr. Collins yet again.
It's a team effort.